So welcome to the regular weekly meeting of Golden Speakers Toastmasters. We meet every Tuesday from 7:45 to 9 o'clock. And we're delighted to see members and guests. I think we'll have a wonderful meeting. You may know already that Vivek is going to give his icebreaker speech tonight. Then we'll have table topics after that. So it should be a very good meeting. I am also the Toastmaster tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and get the meeting started. As Toastmaster, my job is to keep the meeting rolling along so that we get everything in and we finish on time. And the first part of my job tonight will be to introduce the role players for the evening, let them tell us what their jobs are. I'm going to introduce our timer for the night, Alex Gibbons. Alex, would you please tell us about your role?
Thanks, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our honored guest. As the timer tonight, I will be timing the prepared speech, the evaluations, and our round of table topics. For the prepared speech, I believe the speech is 4 to 6 minutes. So at 4 minutes, I'll raise the green card. At 5 minutes, I'll raise the yellow card. And at 6 minutes, I'll raise the red card. And the speaker has 30 seconds to complete. For the evaluations, normally we do 2 to 3 minutes. So at 2 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 2 minutes and a half, I'll raise the yellow card. And at 3 minutes, I'll raise the red card. And the evaluator has 30 seconds to complete the evaluation. And for table topics, we will do speeches in 1 minute. I'll raise the green card. At a minute and a half, I'll raise the yellow card. And at 2 minutes, I'll raise the red card. And the speaker has 30 seconds to complete. And I'll give my report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Alex. The next role player I'd like to call on is Sue Fry, who's going to be tonight's grammarian. Sue, will you please explain your role?
Thank you. My role as the grammarian tonight is to introduce the word of the day. And that word of the day today is going to be future. And the use of that word in a sentence, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Quote from Eleanor Roosevelt. And I will be recording the number of times that that word is used from each of our participants. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Now, let's hear from Jean Symington Craig, who is our counter.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guest. The counter, my job is to count filler words, both quantity and types of filler words. The goal is to have minimal or no filler words. Filler words and sounds can be, here are some sounds, that you use to put in between words, usually because you're feeling a little nervous and you don't want to have a pause, you don't want to have a space. So you put in a filler word. We prefer, and what we teach is not to fall into that temptation of putting filler words in there. Just let there be a pause. It actually helps your audience digest, or your listener, however big your communication situation is, let your listeners digest what you're speaking about rather than getting distracted by filler words. So I will be counting those. There are words that are often used as filler words. These are words like well, so, like, but. You can do repeats, which is when you start a sentence. When you start a sentence, it's also called a double dribble. for basketball fans. You know is another popular one. Right is another popular one. I'll be looking for those, and I'll be making a list, checking it twice, and we'll report at the end of the meeting.
Thank you, Jean. Later, we're going to hear from a general evaluator, which will be Alex. We'll also hear from me as the joke master. At this point, we are ready for our prepared speech. What we'll do is begin with BIBEC's evaluator for the evening, who's Jean. She's going to read the objectives from the project that BIBEC is going to try to meet. And then she'll give the lectern back to me. I'll do a short introduction of BIBEC before he begins his speech. Jean, please give us the project objectives.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, tonight we have the honor of having BIBEC Podol, is that how you pronounce that? Podol?
Podel.
Podol.
Podel.
You say Podel? Do you say Podel?
Yes, you said it right the earlier time. Podel.
Okay, Podol. Just Podol. Is that right?
Similar.
You say it.
Podel.
Podel.
Yes.
Podel. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Sometimes it just takes a little work. So BIBEC Podel is doing his icebreaker for the evening. The icebreaker is the first project in the Toastmaster educational program. The purpose of the project is for the member to introduce themselves to the club and to learn the basic structure of a public speech. So there's the content, it's about yourself, it's probably something you know pretty much, but also organization of your speech and your content. I will be just looking to see how BIBEC does. This is his venturing up in front of us and giving us this 4 to 6 minute speech. And I'll be giving an evaluation later. Thank you. And back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jean. BIBEC Podel is a passionate finance professional from Nepal. He completed his chartered accountancy, which is similar to a CPA in the US, from India and Nepal. He is currently studying an MBA in finance from MIU in Fairfield, and also pursuing a chartered financial analyst, CFA, from the CFA Institute simultaneously. His main motivation for joining Toastmasters is to improve his communication skills and make effective communication his second nature. His speech title tonight is My Journey with Public Speaking. Please welcome BIBEC.
Okay. So, sorry, just to confirm. So, am I required to give a speech now, right? I just thought it would be table topic session first, so I didn't get the agenda. So sorry. We generally don't have feature speech. Okay. So timer, you can time me for now. In the words of Warren Buffett, one easy way to become 50% more worthy then what you are now is to increase your communication skills. Good morning, good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guest. This quote by Warren Buffett shows the importance of public speaking. So today, in my speech, titled My Journey with Public Speaking, I will go through my journey with public speaking from my childhood till date. So I was born and brought up in Nepal, a beautiful country between India and China. In my childhood, I loved playing football, which is also called soccer in USA. And as opposed to most of the people, I loved math. Many people in childhood, they hate maths. They don't like it. They find it very difficult, but I used to love math. And one interesting thing, one distinguishing factor rather than beside most of the people, I used to talk very fast. And people used to have trouble understanding me. And for the most of my part in the childhood, I was confined to a boundary of a couple of my friends. And I did not have much experience with public speaking until a decade ago when I went to Delhi for chartered accountancy. So around a decade ago, my first instance with public speaking came around a decade ago during chartered accountancy, while during a farewell party at my college, the professor called me out to come onto stage and to sing a Nepali song in front of hundreds of students and faculties. I was so terrified and embarrassed that I declined. I didn't go because I was so feared. I was actually fearing what the others would say. But my other friend who was beside me, he took up the chance, he raised his hand, he took up the chance, he went on the stage and he absolutely rocked the stage. He was so confident. Oh, how much I wished at that time that I was him, that I could have done like that. So that I remember that was the first instance that made me like realize the importance of public speaking. And after that, a couple of months after that, I didn't have any particular chance with public speaking. And after a couple of months, a Nepali society, a student society in New Delhi, they were organizing a seminar on economy. And I volunteered myself to present a paper on the seminar because I had to get rid of my fear of public speaking. So I prepared for the paper and I gave it on stage. But I don't remember anything. Whatever I gave, I was so frightened that I don't remember any of it, what I gave. But later on, my friend said that it was a great paper. So that boosted my confidence. And right after that seminar, the next month, we had a communication training, where I stood first in the class. So as a result of the previous seminar, that increased my confidence so much that I stood first in the class. So that was a huge confidence booster for me. So after that also, I again resumed my studies. I didn't have much chance with public speaking. And I completed my chartered accountancy. And when I was back in Nepal, a couple of years back, I wanted to increase my networking. So I went to different networking groups. So in sorts of different networking groups, I came in contact with ACAN Toastmasters Club. It was recently founded by chartered accountants, a group of chartered accountants, and I loved being there. So in the group, there were even veteran chartered accountants who used to communicate so effectively in the club. And I was like, oh, that's who I want to be like. So I need to continually improve. But I did not have the time because my schedule was not like flexible all the time. So I went as a guest whenever I could. But I had inner desire to join the Toastmasters. So I went as a guest couple of times. But I had deep desire to improve my communication skills. But during lockdown, during the Corona lockdown, the Clubhouse app was very famous. And what I did was in Clubhouse app, you can communicate with audience through programs. And what I did was I created a club for myself and I shared the knowledge relating to share market. And the club within couple of months, it became the first and the biggest club in Nepal. It still is the biggest club in Nepal with 50,000 members. Wow, that hugely boosted my confidence. And now I want to master my public speaking skills and I have chosen the presentation mastery. So I look forward to improving my communication skills. Thank you, everyone. Did I cross the time, Alex?
Yeah. Thank you, Vivek. You did well.
Sorry, I hesitated because I didn't expect that the speech would come so fast. I mumbled a bit in the earlier. Sorry.
It goes that way sometimes. We're going to take 2 minutes at this point, and what we want is for everyone here, guests included, to send feedback to Vivek through the chat function. Send it directly to Vivek. You have 2 minutes to do so. And Alex, if you will time us for 2 minutes. Very good. That's 2 minutes. Jean, would you like to give the speech evaluation at this time, or do you want us to give you some more time and start the table topics?
I could use a little more time. Excuse me.
Okay. We'll circle back to Jean for her evaluation after we do table topics. We'll move on to that. Tonight, our table topics master is Sean Fry. Sean, I'll turn it over to you. Please take it away.
Okay, good evening, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and guests at home. In keeping with the theme of our meeting tonight on looking forward and the word of the day of the future, I have 10 questions that are all related to the future. And I look forward to sharing them. Mr. Toastmaster.
At this point, you just need to wrangle a volunteer. There's one, Alex.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Alex, give me a number between
see.
1 and 10.
Let's see what the future holds. Let's do number 1.
Perfect. Okay, number 1. What are your goals for the next year, and how do you plan to achieve them?
Thanks for the question, Mr. Table Topics, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. I have many goals for this year. And what I like to do to start the year, it's always to start the year with one word. So I pick a word where that word will represent my year, or that's what I'm gonna work around. And for this year, my word will be consistency. And that's what I wanted to do to achieve my goals. I feel that when I can have many goals in a year, but I feel that, and one of the things that I do other than picking the word is also to create a vision board with the main things that I wanted to accomplish. So that helps me to know what I'm doing to achieve those goals. So the vision board, I normally have some pictures there just with the main things that I wanted to accomplish. And based on that, I try to create, yeah, I'm timing myself. I try to create, thanks. I try to create some smaller goals where I can every month look again to see what are the things that I'm working towards to achieve my goals. So setting a word for the year and then creating a vision board and then creating smaller steps to achieve my goals. That's the way that I organize the goals that I have for this year. And that's how I stay on track to really achieve what I plan for my future. Thanks for the question.
Okay, who is next? Who wants to volunteer? Okay, Eob. All right, you're okay, great. And so we have 2 through 10, Eob.
Let me go with number 5.
Number 5, what is something you hope to accomplish in your lifetime, and why is it important to you?
Okay, let me start. Good evening, Mr. Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters. In my future time, I want to accomplish one thing. Mainly, I have a lot of plans, but one main thing I want to do is like building a school in my home country in Eritrea, because I have seen students have been suffering these times in lack of technology and good resources of education, and the education system and exposures I have seen and experienced when I have arrived here in the USA. So my plan is to build a well sophisticated school starting from the KG or from kindergarten to the university level. And I want to follow up the American curriculum, which is exactly my dream, can take the students into the future leaders, to create leaders, good politicians, good teachers, good academicians that can build the country and stop the migration of students from my home country to other countries in sake of or looking for education. Thank you very much.
Very good. Dan, do we have time for a couple of more? I
Yes,
think
I'm sure we do. Let me double check the time here.
Okay.
Well, he's got lots of time. I think we could probably do 3 more.
Oh, great. Okay. All right. Jean, would you like to? Oh, Dan. All right, let's go for it.
Well, wait a minute.
Oh, I don't want
I
to
was-
cause any rift.
Well, Dan, all right. So Dan did raise his hand. So I
Okay.
it felt so sweet to be invited, or voluntold. I don't know which one that was, but all right. So Dan, we'll go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Dan, we got 2 through 9, except 5.
2, 3, 9, except 5. Sounds like trigonometry.
Yes.
I will take 3, and I'll ask Vivek, could you evaluate me? Jot down an evaluation. Okay. Number 3.
This is perfect for you, Dan, because it's probably the toughest one. What is a challenge you faced in the past? And how did you overcome it? And how did that experience shape your outlook on the future?
Mr. Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. I'm going to answer that in Toastmaster terms because here we are in a Toastmasters meeting. About 10 years ago, no, I guess it was 12 years ago, I came to grips with the fact that I was suffering from something called social anxiety. It had been a lifelong situation, but I just identified it and started dealing with it. The first thing I did in order to come to grips with it was to get some counseling in a group session. It was interesting because it was something of a forerunner of all these Zoom chats. It was an online connection that I was making into that meeting. The rest of the people were all with a therapist in Chicago. So it was a group of about 10 or 15 people. Very interesting. It was cognitive behavioral therapy. I don't have time to go into all that. It basically means that you have to understand the thoughts as they're coming to you and be willing to replace them with other thoughts. The other part of it is that you put yourself in some situations that are challenging to you so that you can test out your new competencies. Challenging, but not overwhelming. So what I found myself doing was plunging into activity like I hadn't ever in my life, really. And I recall giving my icebreaker speech at Toastmasters and telling roughly the same tale. I said, on Monday nights, I play volleyball. On Tuesday nights, I go to Toastmasters. And here I am sitting in front of you. On Wednesday nights, I meet with a drumming group. On Thursday nights, I go to a dance class. On Sunday afternoons, I go to the drumming group again. I was just explaining that whereas in the past, the way I had dealt with my situation was kind of just not take on too much. That's really the way I thought of myself. I just can't take on very much. It's too overwhelming. What I had done with some intellectual understanding, some practice in a group setting, was take on a lot of things that I could handle. And it did change things for me. I'm still quite introverted, but I'm more comfortable. Thanks for the question.
Okay, Jean, you are up, and I've got question.
Wait a second.
Number-
Wait
Oh.
a second. Brajesh raised his
Oh.
hand. Did you raise your hand, Brajesh?
Yeah, I raised it.
Oh,
Okay.
great. Okay.
So is this youth before beauty? What do we call this? I'm willing to give my Sean, I love that you're inviting me. I'm once again willing to step aside and let Brajesh. So Brajesh, you're up.
Okay, otherwise you can also take it. Okay,
No, it's you're up. We like it.
okay, thank you, brother.
Okay. All right, great. Rajesh, we've got
I'll go for number 7. Yeah.
number 7. Number 7. Perfect. Okay. How do you stay motivated when things get tough? What techniques do you use to stay focused on your goals?
Thank you for the question. Hello, all the topic master and all the Toastmasters. Generally, for boosting my motivation, I generally prefer to do the meditation. I'm following meditation since long, and I am continually it in the here in the Maharishi University also. So my first way to make me motivated is meditation. When I do a meditation, I feel very comfortable. So when I'm in a very stress situation, or when I'm getting some trouble from something, or when I am like depressed by something not happening as per my wish or as per my will, then first thing is always I do a meditation. And when if it is a very short time or like that, I used to take a deep breath, and that also give me a very good energy. And for motivation, I generally used to read a 1 hour very religious book called Bhagavad Gita. I used to read it, go through it regularly. And when I go through it, it gives me a immense what called motivation to do something great for myself and for the world. So that book is so powerful for me, is that I am reading it through since last 10 years, and it has given me a great motivation always for my current time and for my future time. So that is what I am doing. Thank you for the question.
We have time for at least one more.
Perfect. Okay, Jean, we've got number 2, 4, 8, or 9.
I wish I could see into the future so I could see which of these questions is going to be the best, but I don't have that capabilities. How about we go with 2?
Number 2, what is something you've always wanted to try but have been too afraid to do? How do you plan to overcome that fear and move forward?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guest. This is going to sound perhaps a bit funny, but I am not a entertaining type person in terms of having people into my house and making meals and just enjoying that whole process. It's actually somewhat surprising because my parents entertained all the time. They always had these groups of friends and they'd rotate and they'd do all of this. And I grew up watching all of that and thinking that's what you do when you're an adult. You just entertain each other and social life. And I have a social life. I like socializing, but the pressure of trying to put on an event, particularly if this day and age, people are very casual about commitment. They'll say they're going to come, but then they'll say, oh, I just didn't feel like it. And it's hard. It's hard to plan and get over fears of not feeling appreciated, or not to mention just the logistics of putting on an event. I am in the process right now, actually, of looking at that. And rather than just saying, well, I'm just not going to be doing entertaining, I will avoid entertaining. I will go out to eat, or I'll enjoy my friends someplace other than in my home. I am thinking about it and saying, maybe I'm overthinking it. Let's just keep it simple. You can buy food, you can do just, this is a natural part of life. And I am starting out 2023 thinking, because I have friends and I'd like to have friends come over, but I don't want to feel depressed or anxious or whatever at the fact of them coming over. So it's a little bit of a weird little thing that I have to work on, but I'm going to work on it.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, do we have time for one more?
Yes, we can do one more.
Mm-hmm. Sue.
Okay, so all right, Sue, you're up. I've got let's see, 6, 8, or 9.
Oh, we saw Mythflesh too there for a second.
Oh.
Hi, Mythflesh.
Feel free.
Okay.
All right. You choose for me, Mr. Topic Master.
Okay, we'll go with number 9. What is something you're looking forward to in the next month, and why are you excited about it?
Thank you, Mr. Topic Master. Fellow Toastmasters and guests. In looking into the future of 2023, I am looking forward to many opportunities that await me in the future. I'm looking forward to the people I will meet, the opportunities I will have. And each day brings new people into your life. I hope with this open mind for the future that it will bring an abundance of new possibilities. And I think in looking at that closer, I feel that if your mind is open and welcome, the opportunities will come. So I challenge everyone for the next month to take on that challenge and see what possibilities will come your way. Thank you.
Okay, that will be the amount of time we have. I'm going to ask Alex as timer to tell us who qualified so that we can vote. And then Alex, go ahead and take over as general evaluator from there and run the evaluation section.
Thank you, Dan. We have the speakers that qualify. We have Bibek, Alex, Ayob. Just one second, my screen just did something funny. Ayob, Dan, Rajesh, and Jean. So I'll repeat again. We have Bibek, Alex, Ayob, Dan, Rajesh, and Jean. And you can send the votes to Dan, who is the Toastmaster. So you can send the votes via chat, and you can put TT in front of your favorite speaker of the night and send them privately to Dan.
we are going to vote Vivek also. He is a icebreaker, but he's not a table topic.
So Vivek didn't participate on the table topics, right?
Yeah,
Right.
he was a
Right.
icebreaker.
So
Right. So
Oh,
we
I'm
don't,
sorry, I said Vivek. I'm sorry. That's correct. Yeah,
Oh.
Rajesh. Yeah, I said Vivek's name, but yeah, that's correct. So it would be Alex, Ayab, Dan, Rajesh, and Jean. Thank you. All right, so let me see here. So we're gonna start the evaluation section, and the evaluator for table topics. Let's see here. Is it Dan? Dan, you're evaluating table topics, right?
Yes, would it be okay if Jean went
Jean
ahead
goes first?
with her speech evaluation first?
Sure. Jean, would you be ready? And it's 2 to 3 minutes, Jean? Okay, perfect. You are on mute, so whenever
Yep.
you're ready. Mhm.
I was being polite and letting you finish. Here we go. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, honored guest, and viewers at home. So proud of Vivek for stepping up and doing his icebreaker. Boy, he just got into gear last week and said, I want to do it this week. And he's had conversations with Dan over the weekend. He's very much applied himself. Some general comments I could give. He had a good opening. It was a quote, which is always credible and helpful, about the importance of public speaking. And it set up what we were going to be hearing about, his journey with public speaking. I liked that he organized his talk in a series of personal stories. And he filled out those stories. He gave us emotional content that he was experiencing at the time. I felt that he did a pretty good job painting the scene at each of those stories. He was smiling a lot. He looked like he was enjoying his content, and that made me enjoy his speech that much more. He also organized his topic, which is one of the key objectives of this project, into discrete stories that had subpoints, main points, and he finished on time. And I know that he started out having a lot more content. So that is a challenge that you learn right from the start. How do I get the content that I want in the time that I have available? And he made it, which quite impressive. Things that I would recommend for him working on. There was occasional enunciation pieces that were tricky. There, one I wrote down, his degree or his pursuit was the accountancy, and then there was some word there that I wasn't quite catching. And then he also, when he went to the Toastmaster Club, it was the Saturday something, and there was a word there. And what I would say as a way to describe it was that he actually was very good at slowing down, from what I've seen from past meetings, slowing down to enhance the comprehension, but he still had some tendencies to speed up in the latter half of a sentence. So he would start out and be very smooth and slow and articulate, and then he'd sort of speed up there at the end. So that would be something to focus on, would be the latter half of the sentence. And so that's actually what I'm going to suggest for challenging Vivek, would be to try slowing his speed or his pace another 25%. And what he's going to use that time for is he's going to simultaneously work on more articulation, all parts of the word, slowing down that latter parts of the sentence. And I think he'll get even more comprehension, even more audience engagement in the future. Really good job. as I go back on mute.
Thank you, but I am not sure whether I am supposed to speak or not, so that's why I am on mute. Okay.
No, you don't. You just get to sit there and take it. Enjoy the appreciation.
Alex, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people to evaluate for table topics. Could I do 3 to 4 minutes? Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. We had a very good table topic session tonight. I applaud Sean for having some good questions for us. I don't like that he gave me the hardest one, but we'll put that aside. The first speaker was Alex. She was asked something like, how do you manage to accomplish your goals? And I was quite impressed with the way that Alex answered that. A lot of enthusiasm, a well-structured speech. She was telling us about using a vision board. She was persuasive, actually. It evidently something that she has used successfully. It made me think maybe I should try that. I'd say that's a hallmark of a good speech. I think the only thing I can think of to suggest would be something like, at the end, make a statement like, that's the way I accomplish my goals. And if you haven't tried this technique, I'd suggest that you try it for yourself. Kind of connect it to the audience like that. The next speaker was Eob. He was asked what's something he wanted to accomplish in this lifetime. I was quite impressed with Eob. I don't know that he's ever been to a Toastmasters meeting, but he certainly looks like he had. He greeted the group. He restated the question like an old hand. Had a beautiful answer and a very impressive goal that he has of going back to his country of Eritrea and creating a school system, K through university, to train leaders for his country. That in itself impressed me a lot. In terms of delivery, I don't think there's a lot that I would have changed with what you did, except perhaps be a little bit more animated when you speak. It's something that is a bit of a challenge for any of us speaking over Zoom. But if you can perhaps use some natural gestures as you speak, some change in vocal variety, which is something we study in Toastmasters at some points. If you speak a bit slower to emphasize a point, pause when you've said something important. Perhaps later, rattle off some points, that sort of thing. But really, quite a nice job. I'm impressed. Very good. The next speaker I'm evaluating is Brajesh. He's asked what techniques he would use to stay focused on his goals. He greeted the audience. He referred back to the question. He had a good, quick answer: meditation, deep breathing, reading the Gita, which motivates him to do something greater. And I think, Brajesh, one thing that I would have enjoyed seeing in your speech would be a bit of a more comprehensive conclusion. So instead of just finishing after the last point, just to say, and so the things that I use to keep myself motivated are this, this, and this, and then the audience remembers what you said. Next was Jean. She was asked how she overcomes a fear and moves forward anyway. She greeted the audience. She told us about her challenges in dealing with entertaining. And I think it's quite interesting. Her her 70th birthday is coming up, and maybe I'm not supposed to say that. So we're racking our brains about how to entertain for that. I'm going to have to get back to Jean on feedback. Finally, Sue, I'm sorry to rush, but I've got a red card going. The thing that I liked the best about Sue's talk was that she challenged us at the end. So she said, I challenge everyone to take things on. I think the suggestion I have for you is take a little time at the beginning to organize your thoughts. Could we give Vivek 1 minute to evaluate my table topic? Did you do that, Vivek?
Yes, a bit.
Okay. I
Can I get
kind of surprised you with it.
Yes. Can I get up to 2 minutes? If possible. 1 to
I
2
think
minutes.
that's a little long for one person, so
Yeah.
go shorter if you can.
I'll try to complete within 1 minute. Okay. So Dan caught me with surprise, just like the featured speech. Even while evaluating him, he caught me by surprise. And I was really surprised whether he asked me to evaluate or to time him or whether to do, but I did write a few points. So Dan started out regarding an incident that happened 10, and then he rephrased it as, I guess it was 12 years. So it's always a pleasure listening to Dan. He is such a great speaker. But I think about 10 years and 12 years, it doesn't make much of a difference, I think. It is around the same, but after you have said around 10 years, I think you can go with it. So that's one thing. First, I'll go to what I loved about your speech. I loved many things, like how you have got your week all laid out. Oh, it's already red card. So you have got your week all laid out and you are getting comfortable. And I really loved it, how you put it, like, I'm quite introvert, but I'm getting more comfortable. And your strength are that you present it in such a beautiful manner, well laid out manner. A couple of things I would like to mention on suggestions for improvement. You had a couple of repeats, like I noticed some words like come, you repeated twice, fort runner, drumming, you repeated those words twice. So I would suggest reducing that. And I would suggest like showing more gestures like drumming or maybe some other things like, I guess you showed it, but I was so busy writing, so I couldn't focus on that. And use a couple of more vocal varieties, like you can be a bit excited or a bit, while you are talking about your hobbies or something, you can sound a bit excited. So I would suggest on that. Thank you. I'm already beyond time.
Okay, so I have the times of the evaluators. And for the evaluation, we had Jean, who qualified as evaluator.
Did I qualify within 2 minutes?
So we will need to vote for best evaluator. But that was a good opportunity for you to see how the time comes quick when you're evaluating, when you're speaking. It feels like you're just starting to organize your sentences and it's already, the red card is already there. That's how it feels. It's challenging for sure. Okay, let's see. And to starting the evaluation, so I already gave the times, right? Or no, not yet. We're gonna do now, right? Okay.
The report.
Yeah, so I'll start with my timers report. So for the timers report, we have, for the prepared speech, we had be back at 6 minutes and 28 seconds. For the table topics rounds, we had Alex at 1 minute and 54. Eyob at 1 minute and 22. Dan, 2 minutes and 28. Rajesh, 1 minute and 57. Jean at 2 minutes and 22. And Sue at 56 seconds. Just a little more would qualify. And for the evaluations, we have Jean at 3 minutes and 20. Dan at 4 minutes and 45. And be back 2 minutes and 19. And this is the timer's report. We will continue with our reports, and the next one would be the grammarian report. So Sue, if you can share your report with us.
Thank you. I would like to say my duty as a grammarian is to look at the creative language and things that need improvement. And I must say that everyone did a wonderful job tonight. A lot of enthusiasm, a lot of expressions when they were giving their topic, and a few uses of gestures. So that kept everyone engaged and watching. And in regards to usage of our word of the day, future, Jean came in with 2, Dan with 1, Eob with 1 also, and Alex with 2. And that is my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Next report will be from our accounter, which is Jean. Jean, could you please share your report?
Yes, thank you. Right out of the gate, Alex was completely clean, and that was quite exciting. I kept waiting for just one little and completely clean. Vivek, let's see. Vivek, I'm just going to run through the types and the quantities. So Vivek had 2 ahs, 4 so's, 1 like, 1 but, and 1 repeat. Eob had 2 ahs. Pretty clean though, pretty clean. Dan was clean on his table topics. Brajesh leaned into ahs. So he had about 5 ahs. And he also leaned into repeats. So he'd start a sentence and then stop and start a sentence again. And just a comment there, it's that your mouth is going faster than your brain, or your brain is going in a different direction fast, and your mouth is, and so that's why you end up having to stop and start over, stop and start over. Same thing with filler words. You start talking, you get out ahead of yourself, and then you just feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know where I'm going, so I better put in a filler word to kind of. So that would be just to slow down. It's just slow down, stay coordinated there. Sue had 5 ums, 1 and, but pretty clean there. Dan had on his evaluation, he had 2 ums and 2 repeats. And I didn't do myself because that's too much multitasking, but that's my report.
Thank you so much, Jean. We'll now have our joke master, which is Dan, making us laugh. Dan, take over.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. I have 3 very quick jokes. The first one, my brother has been writing a stage drama about a dictionary and a thesaurus. I'm really looking forward to it. I love a play on words. I'm looking forward to the day we celebrate that chocolate cookie with white icing in the middle. Mim Oreo Day. I know these are pretty high quality. Try to control yourselves. And finally, I'm really looking forward to senility. You meet new people every day. Back to you.
Very good, Dan. Thank you so much. I really like the Memorial Day.
I didn't
All
get it.
right. So I do have to evaluate our evaluators. And I never know how much is the time for the general evaluator. 4 minutes? 3 to 4. Okay. Okay. Let me time myself here. Okay. So my first evaluator is Jean, and Jean evaluated the prepared speech tonight. And I really enjoyed how Jean started by praising Vivek on how quickly he prepared and presented his icebreaker. Vivek just joined us last week. He's our new member in Toastmasters Golden Speakers. It is pretty incredible, really, how quick Vivek put it together. He did a great job. And Jean also praised about the organization of his speech. He had a good opening. She pointed out that he organized in a series of stories with main points and subpoints. And she also pointed out something that I also noticed, that he was enjoying his speech. So he gave the audience that feeling also, that he was very comfortable and he was enjoying, he was telling a story. So it was easy for us to follow. And Jean pointed that out. I thought that was a good catch from her to bring that to his awareness. She also gave good suggestions. One of the suggestions was repeating some words there that she couldn't catch, but he was doing some repetition. Slowing down the speech, which he was already doing it. She pointed out as a good thing that he was doing on the speech, but something that he can also incorporate in future speeches, even a notch down. That would be good so the audience can follow. And work on more articulation, and that will get the audience more engagement. So Jean did a great job. She pointed out the good things and also gave good suggestions that he can work, easy things that he can fix there for the next presentation. So great job, Jean. Thanks. And I don't have suggestions for Jean. I think she really captured everything on the speech, and she gave points that are easy for him to apply for the next one. So thanks for that. So Dan is my next evaluator, and he evaluated table topics. So I'm always impressed with Dan's listening abilities. He really captured the unique and main points on the speech, and he pointed out on those points to each of the speakers tonight. He also used good pauses. So the way that he delivers his evaluation, it's nice because he really pauses. He uses lots of pauses. So it makes easier to follow what he's saying and to take in his suggestions as well. I believe he gave suggestions to all the speakers, but to Jean, just because the time was, coming to an end, he had a red card there. And so my only suggestion to Dan would be just to be mindful of the time and be mindful, like on the very beginning of the evaluation, we tend to spend more time, saying little things here and there that can save time for the evaluation itself. But you did a great job. And yeah, the only suggestion would be mindful of time. And that's my report. Thanks. All right. So let's see now. We give the meeting back to our Toastmaster, which is Dan. So Dan, you can please take over.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. It's time for our meeting awards. Jean, are you ready with your ribbons? Okay, very good. We had a wonderful first speech from Vivek. He is our best speaker of the evening. There you go.
I think I need to have sound effects though.
Yeah, that's important. That's important. And there's a nice echo if you have your microphone. Then for table topics, let's have a drum roll, please. It was me.
Yay!
Oh, thank you. I can actually go hold that little ribbon. I'm in it with the in crowd.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. And finally, for best evaluator, it was Jean.
Hey.
All right, very good. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, everyone. We've had a wonderful meeting tonight. I'm shifting over to being the president substitute now to close out the meeting. Before we finish, I would like to ask our guest to just speak something that they liked about the meeting tonight. Eob, could you give us that feedback?
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a really great evening. First, I want to thank Vivek for his invitations. I came here because of his invitation, and I am really happy of the feedback also I get from Dan and all the lessons also I took from this night. It is like a wonderful night. Thank you very much. It was a great evening.
Yes, thank you for coming, and please come again. Mithlesh, do you have any quick feedback for the meeting that you'd like to share?
Are you?
You're muted. There we go.
Hello, everybody. I was happy to join you, and it was nice to have the communication and life movement being said. So I was excited to.
Thanks for visiting. Glad to have you. Rajesh, I'll give you 1 minute if you've got something you'd like to say that you enjoyed about the meeting.
Yeah, as usual, it was a wonderful meeting, and I enjoyed the meeting a lot. And the presentation of Vivek was very good, and it was so motivating too. Wow, how he became so familiar with the public speaking, and all the topics was very good. Thank you, Son, for the great topics. I really enjoyed saying about I also enjoyed about my saying also. In the last meeting, I was I was so nervous and I could not do better, but I think I could a bit improve this week. So, and other table topics and all the evaluator, you did a great job, and I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. There is a lot of value just doing it week after week, whether it's table topics or filling a role, just little chances to speak, and then eventually doing prepared speeches. Just that repetition is the way that we become more comfortable. We're almost at our time. Does anybody have any club business that we need to attend to before we sign off? I'll mention that we would usually have an officers meeting tomorrow. I will send Bob an email and see if he's available. Alex and Jean, are you both available tomorrow?
It would be at around 8 p.m., right?
Right.
I will be available.
Okay. Jean, you also? Okay, so I'll check with Bob and we'll see about doing that. The only other business quote sort of business that I can think of is that, Alex, I think we need to communicate with Sue and Sean about setting up mentors. So I think maybe you haven't seen their applications because I ended up picking them up, and I will create PDFs of the applications so you have their info,
Okay.
and I'll give you their emails, and then Sue and Sean and Alex, you guys can go back and forth and get it worked out about your mentoring. Any
Thanks.
questions about that? Okay. Well, we have made it almost to 9 o'clock. That's our goal. So we've achieved our timing goal tonight. What we typically do is go ahead and finish our meeting on time. And then if people would like to stay and have questions or just chat a bit, you're free to do that also. So the first thing I'm going to do is say, thanks for coming, everyone. I enjoyed another wonderful meeting, and we are adjourned. See you next week.